was another dog with a piece of meat in the water. The dog had no idea it was his own reflection. His only thought was that he had to have the other piece of meat too. So he made a snap at the dog in the water, but as he opened his mouth, he dropped the meat. It plopped into the brook and was swirled away downriver. So the moral of the story is, it is very foolish to be greedy. Let's start with the next one. The next one is The Man and the Serpent. There was once a farmer who had a little boy who was the joy of his life. The child was playing in the fields one day when by accident he trod on the serpent's tail. The angry creature turned and bit the boy, bit the boy, bit the boy. Within hours, he became very ill, and the next day, he died. The farmer was filled with anger and grief. He grabbed his axe and went out into the fields, determined to find the serpent, no matter how long it took. After much searching, he found its lair and waited outside. As soon as the serpent came out, the farmer swung the axe at it. The serpent was too quick for the farmer to kill, but he managed to cut off a part of his tail. Of course, the serpent was now furious too. To get its own back, it began biting the farmer's cattle, which all died just as the little boy had. When the farmer began losing his herd, he realized his anger had got the better of him. As much as he didn't want to, he realized that he would have to make up with the serpent. The farmer took some food and honey to the mouth of the serpent's lair and said, "Let's forgive and forget. Perhaps you were right to punish my son and take vengeance on my cattle, but I thought I was right in trying to revenge my child. Now that we are both satisfied, why can't we be friends?" But the serpent flicked out its tongue and turned to slither away. No, it said, "Take your gifts away. You will never forget the death of your son, nor I the loss of my tail." So the moral of the story is, injuries may be forgiven, but not forgotten. This is a very good moral to learn, especially for children. It's okay for you to forgive something, but sometimes we are just reminded of it, like, this is just extra story time. Like when someone does something to us, like there are some bad experiences and you can't continue being friends with them anymore, not because you can't forgive them. It's mostly because you can't forget, and it's okay. Let me just scoot over to you. I realized I was so far away. Okay, so the day and brighten up the winter darkness. As the hot rays warmed the ground, the wet earth steamed and sent up clouds of mist. Some ants came out from their mound, bringing their store of corn, grain by grain. It had got rather damp, so they decided to lay it out on the sun to dry. As the ants were hard at work fetching and carrying, along came a grasshopper who begged them to spare him a few grains. "For," he said, "I'm simply starving." The ants stopped work for a moment, though this was against their instincts. So the ants asked the grasshopper, "May we ask, what were you doing with yourself all summer? Why didn't you collect a store of food for the winter?" So the grasshopper replied, "The fact is, I was so busy singing that I didn't have the time." "If you spent the summer singing," replied the ants, "you can't do better than spend the winter dancing." And they chuckled and went on with their work. So the moral of the story is, it is best to be prepared in case hard times arrive. It is best to be prepared in case hard times arrived. It's actually quite heavy, so I'm sorry if you see me like putting the book on my lap instead. So the next story is The Donkey and the Mule. Once upon a time, there lived a man who owned a donkey and a mule. One day, he loaded them up and set off on a journey. Where the road was level, the donkey plodded on without a problem. But eventually, they came to where the road was rough and steep. The donkey found it hard going. It struggled on until it was gasping for breath. On the verge of collapse, the donkey begged the mule to carry part of its load. But the unkind mule refused. At last, the exhausted donkey stumbled and fell down a cliff to its death. The owner was in despair at the loss of his animal, as he had now had the problem of how to carry on with his journey. In the end, he did the only thing possible. He climbed down and retrieved the donkey's load and piled it on top of the mule's. The mule could only just manage the extra weight, and as it staggered painfully along, it said, "I have only got what I deserve. If I had helped the donkey, I would not be carrying this extra load into the bargain." So the moral of the story is, prevention is better than cure. I don't know if that is accurate, but it is what it is written in this book. The next story would be about another story about the donkey, but this is about the donkey and the lapdog. One day,